Everybody, it's Mike the Man, and welcome to my channel. So, what you're seeing right now is still from my John Benet Ramsey video, and it's going to disappear in a few minutes. I have seen a video from JLR, who used to be pretty good on the case of Sebastian Rogers. He made some really decent videos about the neighbor, Bobby. And of course, he disappeared, decided not to be a part of the Sebastian Rogers case anymore because he doesn't like Seth, which is highly unfortunate because he was pretty much the guy, man. I mean, I'm watching some of his videos now, but of course, he dislikes Seth, and yeah, that's how it went. So, without further ado, let me go play to you the video where he features a channel called True Crime Obsessed, something like that. And I think they're actually in the UK, they're actually in Britain, from what I understand. Let me look this up. True Crime Obsessed. And Chris Proudfoot called him. True Crime Obsessed. Let me see how they're doing, what they're doing, and so on and so such. True Crime Obsessed. Is that the one? Doesn't have that many. Okay, let's go.
Hello. JLR Investigates. Come on in, everyone. JLR Investigates here. Talking about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. We've been covering his case extensively, almost since the beginning, when he was reported missing. February 26, 2024. By his mom, Katie Proudfoot, and his stepfather, Christopher Andrew Proudfoot. They both called the Sumner County Sheriff's Office on a three-way call to report Sebastian missing a little after 6 o'clock in the morning, February 26. Sebastian, to this day, has still not been found. Where's Sebastian? Now, there's a lot of chatter, folks, in the last couple days about this sighting in North Carolina. You guys seen the pic. We've shared the pic extensively on JLR Investigates. This pic right here, is this Sebastian or not, remains to be seen. We're going to talk about this pic in a second. But first, we're going to talk about Chris Proudfoot.
It wasn't Sebastian.
Andrew Proudfoot. Because Christopher Proudfoot, I'm not sure if this guy here has his priorities right. And we're trying to get into the mind of Christopher, who I feel, and I'm sure a lot of you feel this too, that he knows something of something, or he's protecting Katie.
Good way to put it.
While others out there feel Christopher Proudfoot is not.
By the way, this was from, what is it, May 3rd? I thought it was earlier than that. Okay.
Not involved in the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Well, it's interesting, folks, because today, Chris Proudfoot makes a phone call. And he calls into a YouTube channel called Crime Stories Obsessed.
Oh, Crime Stories Obsessed, yeah.
Crime Stories Obsessed. And he calls in, right? After hearing a caller call into Crime Stories Obsessed. Now, a caller called in and made a claim. And the caller, I don't know, I listened to it. The caller sounded a little senile, but somebody claims they saw Sebastian in a store and was hesitant to call authorities and spoke. And this is the channel, by the way, because we're going to play a phone call that Chris made. Because it, to me...
Wait, Crime Stories Obsessed. I just want to look it up real quick to make sure I got this right. Crime Stories Obsessed. Why do they suggest Crime Stories Obsessed YouTube? I'm on YouTube. Anyways. We have 49,000 subscribers. And they must have been alive, right? Popular. Let me see. Oh, they talked a lot about summer wares too. But okay, let's go here.
And he called in Crime Stories Obsessed. Check out the channel. I know her. She's a friend. Her name is Emma. She does good work. She covers true crime, just like JLR investigates 24/7, 365. And Chris calls into her show immediately after this woman makes a claim to see Sebastian. And it's just a bizarre phone call. It seems like Chris is obsessed with what everyone is saying on the YouTube street.
You see, the thing now, when he calls it bizarre, we consider normal now because we know Chris Foot's pattern. But this was in the very beginning. I think I don't want to, the date that they. Let me see. Yeah, he's going to talk about red flags, which is really funny. All right, let's go ahead. Let's listen.
And it seems like Chris Proudfoot is lurking in the YouTube shadows. And anyone that says anything, he wants to make things crystal clear. Meanwhile, his stepson is still missing. And it just makes me wonder, instead of him out there handing out flyers and bringing a public awareness to Sebastian, why is he responding to YouTubers and staying on YouTube 24/7, 365? Because that's what it seems like. We're going to play...
And it's so blatant, but yeah, I mean, imagine you don't hear about this case, you haven't heard about this case before, and there's a dude, and his stepson is missing, and he's spending all day long on calling YouTubers.
This phone call. And then I'm going to give you an update about that phone call, because Nick Barris with the news, he put out a report just a little bit ago about the pants that were found and the site. But we're going to listen.
Okay, is that the old Nick Barris or the new one that is just cowering to everybody?
Listen to this phone call. And you tell me if you think this phone call is bizarre or not. I do. And it's just strange.
Every call from Chris Foot is bizarre.
It's very, very strange.
Best.
TN, United States. 615.
Hello, Crime Stories Obsessed.
Hello, this is Chris Foot.
Stories Obsessed.
Yeah.
It is. Hi. You're live.
Awesome. Hey, I heard somebody saying that they saw Katie's mom or something with a kid. Is that really true?
It's difficult. That's what she said. I don't want to say too much on here without upsetting anybody that's listening.
Okay, so they had, I guess, a caller who said that they saw Katie's mom with Sebastian. And, all right, let's hear.
Oh no. We gotta change up. Oh no, we gotta change up.
Hurry up, JLR.
Folks.
Hurry up.
We gotta change up.
Tell him, bro.
We gotta change up. We gotta do this over. I gotta do this on my Telegram.
Stay tuned.
That wasn't coming in right. So let's reverse it. Let's go right here, folks. Let's go back to the bizarre phone call. Chris calls in Crime Stories Obsessed. And we're gonna play it right here. Calls in Crime Stories Obsessed. We're gonna play it right here.
Hello, Crime Stories Obsessed.
Yeah, is this the call-in show?
It is. Hi. You're live.
Awesome. Hey, I heard somebody saying that they saw Katie's mom or something with a kid. Is that really true?
It's difficult. That's what she said. I don't want to say too much on here without upsetting anybody that's listening. Namely the person that just called in. But we were just questioning.
Oh, come on, man. Just upset people. I mean, seriously, if somebody calls in something and it's bogus, just say it. Don't lead people on. I don't get it.
And if there was anything, any confusion. But we are going to take it seriously and make sure the address, the details, everything she said is passed over to law enforcement.
Great, yeah.
We're going to
waste their time.
Do that together.
Which is, by the way, what this phone call is going to highlight, how interested Chris Proudfoot is in wasting the time of law enforcement. And that is actually a part of his agenda. He wants law enforcement, he wants to wear them down. He wants every tip, no matter how ridiculous, to be called in to law enforcement, not YouTube, because he doesn't want people in public to speak about it anymore. He wants to stop the public discussions because he doesn't fear law enforcement. He only fears that there is too much of a public outcry putting pressure on law enforcement to get to it and to solve the case.
When we finish on the call, so that we'll actually give them the call, they can listen to it themselves. What did you...
That woman actually said sounds like Chris. Yeah, you can hear this voice. You can understand the voice, right? You can tell it's him.
Make of it.
I want to add this to that call in.
Yeah.
You're talking to Chris, the stepfather of Sebastian Rogers.
Oh.
You know.
Oh, hi.
So here's the funny thing that lady was after spewing.
Yeah.
Absolutely crap.
Okay.
It's the funny thing.
Right.
Absolutely crap.
Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, no worries.
I didn't want to upset her.
All these answers and they want to get stuff straight. Well, let's get stuff straight. Let's put this out here for everybody to understand.
Yeah.
See, when you have people like that called into your show and they say they have all this information, and when you ask the question, why didn't you call law enforcement? Her answer was because my son didn't want me to.
Yeah, that's it.
There's a red flag. That is absolutely.
Chris talks about red flags. This dude ain't having no red flags at all.
There's a red flag. That is absolute BS.
You've got to be careful what you say on here. I don't want to upset the woman, you know what I mean? She's given me the information.
Why not? Why not upset people? I mean, come on, dude. You're trying to be a crime solver. Honestly, your channel is crime stories obsessed. And you're worried about upsetting people. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm stating the facts.
Yeah, you're right.
Because the reason why, I'm one of the parents. And let's talk about upsetting people because...
You're one of the parents. No, you're not. You're stepfather. There are two parents, and let the parents talk.
You've got people that go on these shows and they say these kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't use common sense.
You're not the adoptive father. You didn't adopt him. You were living together. That's it.
And it's because if she had the information... So you mean to tell me that you just went on a show with 44,000 subscribers that you have, and she openly admitted that she wouldn't call the cops but had information? What kind of person with a compassionate heart says something like that?
Probably somebody...
Doesn't make any sense.
It's probably somebody with a bit of Alzheimer's, or somebody that's seen something on Facebook and has, you know...
Yeah, see, but once again, that's where it goes right back to speculations and assumptions, and then they put out...
You see, this is the thing that I'm talking about all the time. When you check out a channel, and that channel has absolutely zero desire to solve anything, and every single desire to string along a bunch of BS that keeps people watching, then why are you spending your time there?
Also misleading information, and unfortunately, it truly bogs down the investigation.
I'm curious how long this call actually lasted. Okay, ma'am. That's nice, ma'am. Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Wow, really? Oh, my God.
From law enforcement on every aspect.
It does.
So, I mean, and I'm sure Seth would agree with me, and so does Katie on this deal.
You see this? I'm sure Seth would agree with me. Can you see it? I'm sure Seth would agree with me. He likes to speak for Seth. Seth is the innocent parent. Any chance that Proudfoot gets, he will include Seth in his statements. I don't know if I'm speaking for Seth. Well, don't speak for him. Why are you? And I'm still thinking Chris and Katie got something on Seth, because in the very beginning, the way everything came down and the way that they shouted him, that he was shouted, there's something very off on the uh, relationship between Seth and both of them. There's something really, really, really off, that Seth only feels comfortable hiding behind Tony Mattis and basically not taking charge of anything, even though he said, "Hello, Sebastian's army, thank you, and I am in charge. Everything goes through me." Seth, you didn't write that. And I think it's, and it doesn't matter. And, anyways, I think these people are wasting their time, anyways, because I believe we need to search the properties of the Bauer success and their cars. That would be my next step and nothing else. Until that is done, then you can go out there. Then you can decide to either search within the search radius or outside of the search radius. But I find it really, really noticeable that Tony Mattis doesn't mind wasting people's time. Do we need to keep hope alive for somebody, or do we need to solve the case? What is better? Because eventually it'll lead to the same thing. Eventually the hope will simmer down and they will say, okay, now we need to solve it. But the sooner we can do it, the better.
So, but we really don't want the rest of the BS out there. We just want true hardcore leads.
We don't want the rest of the BS out there. We want true hardcore leads. Hardcore. What is a hardcore lead? They don't want anything out there. That's the problem. What is the problem if somebody calls in on YouTube instead of the police? What is the issue here? Let's find out.
It's out there. We just want true hardcore leads that could actually lead somewhere, not
I understand.
somebody who thinks they saw something and whatnot. We would just really call in and get those leads in if they feel that.
No, I agree 100%. The only problem is I'm a paramedic, so I understand you're going to get people that may have problems, that may have dementia, and they don't understand, they don't realise.
If she has dementia, yeah, and she calls in, why are you calling in, Chris? Somebody with dementia calls a show in the UK and they're blah blah blahing, and I guess enough people, listen to it. So, forget what I said before. I mean, it's a free market out there. Why are you calling in?
And if they were 30 years younger, they probably wouldn't call in.
In other words, I'm not the type that would listen to this kind of show, but you know, and I don't recommend it either.
Because they know that it was just something that was in their mind that they'd seen earlier on say Facebook or somewhere. We can't medically.
The issue I have with that is why she's grandstanding. This is supposed to be about Sebastian Rogers. You know what I mean? Why are so many people using his name? And then, this is about him.
Diagnose somebody over here, but just don't put by speed.
No, I mean, you don't have to diagnose anybody over the air, but common sense, I don't care who you are, would say that if you have the information and you think it's a credible thing, you should call law enforcement regardless. I mean, how would somebody feel if their child went missing and they were in our shoes?
First of all, the woman said that she's gonna pass it on or has passed it on to law enforcement. So what are you talking about?
And they had all these people calling in and saying that they have spotted this child, they've seen this, and they've seen that, but refused to call it in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, false tips are better than no tips.
His little laugh. You see? There's his little laugh again. I should do it differently. False tips are better than no tips. Yes, false tips are better than no tips. I think that Chris, from the very beginning, his thing is that he wants to overload the law enforcement line. That, by the way, according to narc divers, is not being responded to at all, by email or by call. They want this overload of tips that are going to be false. Of course they're going to be false, because the places that need to be searched, they're not searching. They didn't do their job properly, in my opinion, and they cannot get a search warrant for that. So now we're supposed to call police for everything. False tips are better than no tips. Read that again. Chris Foot makes it crystal clear that he doesn't want these things on YouTube, in public, on social media. Bombard police with false tips. Everything and anything, but do not look at my mama or anybody in my family. Don't look within the 5-mile radius or 10-mile radius. Don't look there. Otherwise, look everywhere. Call everything in. But don't say somebody saw my mama at worships that same morning. And I still want to know more about it. Is there videotape? Who got it? That's why Chris Foot is so busy. And that's why Katie, from the very beginning, when she announced that her son is missing, if anybody has a camera, that's her priority. And then she talked about evidence where he may have gone, not lead, not evidence. She's worried about camera and evidence. So is it too hard to assume that if somebody came forward to Chris and Katie, that they are, is it too hard to assume that they want to get right to it and get it out of the way? Any type of evidence. The last thing they want, they don't seem to be worried about law enforcement, but they're worried about the public. They're worried about anything that makes it onto the airways. And yes, I encourage every single one of you guys, if you want to help solve this case, oh my gosh, look for the older statements by Chris or Katie Proudfoot. The early ones, not so much the later ones, but the ones that we may have missed. And there were many statements that many have told me they heard being made, but they have been erased from the channels. So where's the pre-interview with Duchess? Where is that? And how did Seth ever meet Heather? I know how he did, but a lot of people don't even know that. I'm not going to get into it right now because I want to get through this one. Stacks. So let's continue. Something is very wrong with this case. A lot of things are very wrong, actually. But again, I've told you where we need to look, in my opinion.
And no tips, but true common sense on things like, when people say, well, I just didn't want to call in, that is a red flag right there.
Again, a red flag? Oh no, Christopher, the red flag. Oh my God, we can't have that.
People say,
yeah, she said her family didn't want her to get involved, and there is probably a reason for that, like you said, but we don't know. 78,
Well, anonymous reporting is perfectly okay.
Yeah, she
You
wasn't.
don't have to give information.
What'd he say?
Well, anonymous reporting is perfectly okay.
Yeah, she wasn't.
You don't have to give information of it, but
we will pass
once
it
again, this just goes right back to where we keep asking everybody if there's something, just reach out into law enforcement. Just all you have to do is pick up and call them. You don't wait.
But the thing is, it's not up to us as the public to sift through tips and work out.
Again, keep law enforcement busy looking in all the wrong directions because he knows there is not going to be a sighting of Sebastian. There's only going to be a ton of false leads going their way. Wear them out. Call law enforcement.
What we feel is right and genuine and what's not. It's a case of this comes in, this is the information, you decide. It isn't up to us to I know what you're saying. It does bog them down with all this crap. But
I'm also saying,
yeah, well, I mean, you decide. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to take a phone call that I know is. I don't know. But that's what we're used to, right? Now?
That you've got folks that come in on your show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I'm being very respectful when I say this, but they're coming in on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say this to any creator out there.
Mm-hmm.
When you have somebody who comes on your show and wants to make a statement like that, and nobody stops them and asks them the questions that make common sense, like, okay, you don't want to get a report, you don't want to be involved in that song. There's also anonymous reporting that you can put out there, and that might help.
I can guarantee you I wouldn't know what the channel is all about if Proudfoot hadn't called. It's like catching a wounded pigeon, I mean, he's going for the easy. He always does that. He can detect a person's weakness. If there is a segment indicating involvement by the Proudfoots and there is one single mistake that can easily be disproven, that's what he will talk about. That's the type of person, that's how he finds his way into society. That he looks for people's weaknesses and he zooms in on the easy mistakes. That makes him feel like he is mentally, equipped enough to have an argument. A real argument he wouldn't be able to have. So he listens all day long to these shows. And then, for example, with what was it, with the web sleuth thing where somebody, I guess, said, which was wrong, that Bauer Success owned a funeral home. That's what he zooms in. None of the other stuff. So his message is, you guys are full of it on every single level because there's one thing that's wrong. That's why I'm always saying, do not involve yourself in arguments. Do research, do actual research, because it can stand on its own. And statement analysis is a wonderful tool to actually get to it.
Change the narrative as far as whether or not they want to report things. It's just looking out for all parties' interests. Sebastian being number one, the missing child.
Sure.
Yeah.
Our son,
Our son, yeah.
But unfortunately, some people are going to have problems, It's difficult. It's difficult. We did get as much information. I don't think she was going to tell us anything about her. I did ask.
Okay, shut up about her. Ask him, did you have anything to do with the disappearance of your son, of your stepson? Ask him. What do you know? Open-ended questions like that. What do you know about the case? Then the answer would be great for analysis. But again, these people are just yapping and yapping and yapping. Oh, Proudfoot is on, cool. People gonna watch it.
But she gave us the information of the store. If they
all of them the same way. All of them the same way. The moment he comes on, they're happy to have him on. It's special to them, and he knows it. He talks about how much money some creators make, and so on and so on. He web sleuths, I guess they don't. I don't know, but he accused them. He goes straight for people's weaknesses. That's what he's doing, and that's what he focuses on. Not on his own involvement, allegedly, but whatever mistake he can find. A mistake that's very easy to point out. If it's too difficult, he wouldn't know how to do it.
They listen to the call, can't they? For themselves. I'll give them the link. They can listen. If they find it a load of rubbish, they can just say no,
Oh my God.
They can decide for themselves.
You see, there's a reason I haven't listened to any of these things before I started this channel or started to, make these types of videos. And, of course, with you guys, because I know some of you pay attention to, it's great to listen for a purpose. Let me say it like this. I don't understand people who just listen to it because, they have a beer and nothing else to do. I don't get that part.
I mean, help us out on your show and just keep pushing the narrative as far as if you see something, say something, don't wait.
Yeah.
I mean, every time somebody fails to make a report and they wait 2 days, that's 2 days behind.
I guess they're in the UK because it's beep, long distance call, I think.
A report or a lead that could be substantial.
Well,
Nobody actually knows where these go and how important they are.
We asked her multiple times, will you please call in? Multiple times, no. First, she said she didn't have a phone or she wasn't allowed to, and then
Crime Stories obsessed, and you're still talking about this stupid phone call, man. Of a 78-year-old lady who has Alzheimer's and thought she saw Katie's mom with Sebastian. And of course, Chris knows. Chris is like, oh no, I know where he is at. And that's not where he's at, So Chris immediately feels superior. He feels like, oh. Remember when he said, when the truth comes out, it'll be amazing. You know why? Because this is how low his mindset is. He can't wait to go to tell people like, I don't know, Justin or whoever they are. Oh, look at you. All of your wrong guesses. You didn't get it right. Of course he doesn't want the truth to come out. But he is itching. He wants to show he knows something that they don't know or that they got wrong. He loves to do that. That is his way of sort of, having a footing in society where he can probably not keep up with most conversations, but whenever he zooms in on a mistake that is easy to pinpoint and easy to that's when Proudfoot is at his best, man. That's when he wakes up and says, oh, I'm calling him right here. I think they're smart.
Mentioned something about a son. It was just, I think as the call progressed, we could kind of...
Right, but if you notice, people are having excuses. They didn't have a phone, my family doesn't involved, my son doesn't want to get reported. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's It's kind of odd. It's very odd.
She might.
If a law enforcement person hears this, they're also going to be doing the exact same thing. It's very odd.
I'd like to think that they would look at all information that comes in. I would like to think that if I sent them the link to this and gave them the time, that they would listen to it and take it seriously.
But would you provide the phone number?
Yeah, if they want it, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, well, if you're going to send them the link, you would probably need to send them the phone number of the caller at the time, so that way they could reach out instead of having to do extra legs of work to find this person if you've got the information.
I've got all the information because it's a recorded call, so we're going to go back through it and write everything down, pass on the telephone number. They can make that decision and then they can decide what they want to do with it. I mean, I think we've already decided that it's probably nothing, but she seems to think she's seen him, whether it's because she's seen him somewhere else, like on Facebook. I don't know, but let them.
Oh my God, how patronizing. She may have seen him somewhere on Facebook and she's confused and this. No, I mean, what kind of crime show is this, dude? Seriously, you say, okay, you ask some right questions, then you get to decide, okay, this is nonsense. And sorry to all my viewers, but I've just wasted 7 minutes of your time. And please, let's figure out what happened to Sebastian. Back on track.
Decide. But I know what you mean. It is annoying when things when loads of people are sending in tips that are related.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Just like this people-pleasing attitude, man, that doesn't get us anywhere. This is true crime, man. You gotta get to the point. I'm sorry to say it, but this is not about, opinions and trying to, too much soft language.
Rubbish. Yeah, I understand that. I do. So, have you been searching today then? Have you been busy?
Good question. Have you been searching today? Have you been busy? Let's see what Proudfoot has to say about this one.
I work nights, so I'm just now getting up. This is what I got up to here.
Oh, you've been on nights.
So he doesn't say, I was working. Listen to this.
Yeah. I'm actually having to go back to work. I actually go back to work.
Do they use cranes during the night?
He doesn't say, I am back at work. I go back to work. Not I was at work. He didn't say that, and she's going to actually recognize it in a minute.
Cranes run 24/7 means certain job sites.
Oh, yeah. Over here they don't.
They may not run like that over in Europe. I'm not sure.
No.
I'm not going to speak for Europe.
Oh, okay then. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Chris. It's the first time I've spoken to you. Thank you.
Anytime.
Yeah, thank you.
So just appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Talk to you again soon.
Have a good day.
You
Oh
too.
my God.
Bye.
All right, bye, Chris.
What in the world did we just listen to?
Yeah.
Literally, a woman calls in prior and just talks about a possible sighting, and Chris gets triggered because he's claiming, I don't know, he's talking about semantics, talking about the caller should call police before they come on, and it just was weird to me. But it goes back to Chris is worried about what other people say, and he's starting to behave like Don Wells. I don't know if you guys listen to Don Wells over the years. When Don Wells hears anything, he just goes on.
Yes, I have.
At least Chris was nice on this one. Don Wells uses profanity-laced tirades. But it's just weird that Chris would be listening, or he gets up and he's listening to YouTube. I guess he works nighttime now. He got a job.
No, he didn't say that.
Is that why he's not searching? Is he sleeping in the day?
I hope it's gonna come on, because there are two ladies, right? On crime stories, obsessed, and the one that's kind of in the back, and she said, "This sounds like Chris." She's gonna make a really good comment in a minute. The other one, I think, is a little bit, she's like chatty, but the other one seems a little bit brighter.
Working at night. Does he do cranes? I don't know. He didn't really validate.
He didn't say that. He didn't say he did not even actually state that. He made it sound like it.
If he does crane work anymore, he just says crane people do work all the time. Somebody just said bipolar. I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose Chris Proudfoot.
No.
But he's so worried about what people say in
he's
the
not
UK.
bipolar. And this is one of the reasons that a lot of people are so careful even with there are certain misdiagnoses thrown around left and right all the time.
Bizarre. Now, if you think that's normal for someone to act like that, then cool. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Let's talk about business number 2 and 3 in reference to the pants. So a YouTuber named Terry Lynn was out there searching. Terry Lynn, I believe it's the same Terry Lynn that I've seen searching out there when I was up there almost 2 months ago. A month and a half ago, Terry Lynn, I've seen her searching out there. I think.
Okay, so that was May 3rd, 2024, that JLR Investigates made this video, and he said that call came in today. So May 3rd, 2024. Oh wow, a year ago.
It's the same one that continuously makes videos and searches. She goes out there and brings awareness to Sebastian. Apparently, she found a pair of pants, black pair of pants, last night, and authorities came and processed the pants. Well, Nick Barrett's got an update in reference to the pants, and I'm going to share his update because it's interesting.
Okay, I think May 3rd was already when he backtracked from his video about the lights. So I don't think at this point he can be trusted anymore. But let's listen in.
Also gives an update on the photograph. The photograph that
everybody's innocent until proven guilty. Everything I'm stating is my opinion only. I'm not a judge. I'm not a member of the jury. Please be aware.
We all want to know, is this Sebastian or not? So Nick Barrett says he talked to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
So let's listen and hear this report right here. He says he's going on live at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Join me in Facebook Live. It's been a few weeks since I've been on to update you about the very latest on this investigation. Now he says, lots of moving parts, lots of questions, lots of absurd rumors. So
that sounds already like very dismissive. That's already flaggable.
Let's talk. Join him at Facebook Central Time, 7 p.m.
No thanks.
Exclusive update. Not Sebastian's pants. Sebastian Rogers disappeared more than 2 months ago from his head.
I don't know anything about the pants. I actually missed that one. But if it's nothing, then you don't need to fill me in. If you think there may be something to it, always come in immediately.
Andersonville home in Sumner County. I told you earlier today how a YouTuber who has been helping in the search for Sebastian discovered a pair of sweatsuit-style pants last night. The pants resemble what Sebastian was wearing the night he disappeared. They were collected and analyzed by authorities. I just heard back from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. After examination, the pants found are believed to be unrelated to Sebastian Rogers. We are still following up on all.
And that I do not disbelieve, because why? How would they lose a pair of pants when they got rid of the body, allegedly?
All leads and tips. So pants, not Sebastian, but it was enough for them to analyze. Now this is interesting. What about the photo of someone who looks like Sebastian at North Carolina Visiting Center over the weekend? Authorities tell me they are still investigating that alleged sighting.
Interesting, huh?
So now no word yet on whether they believe the person in the photo to be Sebastian. Keep bringing in the tips. 1-800-TVI-FIND. Now, I find that very interesting because we are looking at 4 or 5 days into this, folks, and authorities have not come out to say that this is not Sebastian. Now, case in point, YouTuber finds a pair of pants last night. Less than 24 hours later, the authorities come forward and say, or said it to Nick Barris, not related to Sebastian. Remember, folks, the glass.
And by the way, whether he hears it or not, a big thank you to JLR Investigates for your early work. And I don't know what he's doing right now, but he was definitely an asset when it came to gathering information, especially his interview with neighbor Bobby.
That were found in Gallatin. Everyone thought, oh my gosh, it could be some glasses, Sebastian's glasses. Well, 24 hours after the glasses were found, authorities come out and say they're not Sebastian.
Really? How about a DNA test or something else? So quickly to dismiss, right? No, the glasses, I think, need to be looked in. Well, I have talked about this already. But he's making a good point here.
We are 4 days into this, ladies and gentlemen. 4 days into this, 5 days into this, almost a week. And they haven't said anything.
Are they stalling on purpose? Are they in no hurry to dismiss it? Is Proudfoot not in a hurry to dismiss it? Did he say anything? Maybe I missed it. But they don't seem to be in a hurry to dismiss something that isn't so. It is like as if they are, when they feel threatened by something, they dismiss it very, very quickly. But something where they can relax and say, let people think what they want, let people be busy with this, let them speculate, let them share this on Facebook, let them wear themselves out so they don't bother us and look at us too much, allegedly. You know what I mean? They're in no hurry. But within 24 hours, they wanted to talk about the glasses already. That's absolutely worth mentioning.
About this. They haven't said it's not Sebastian. Very interesting and very telling on that aspect. Apparently, authorities are in North Carolina. I'm hearing the TBI are involved. Seth Rogers went out there to look into this matter. So we're going to keep you updated on this if authorities, I said at the very least, authorities are going to have to give a press statement on this. Or, as Nick Barris said, lots of moving parts. Do we have a lot of moving parts in the background in reference to this?
I'm thinking he interviewed neighbor Bobby after that, because that's when they became interested again in the lights video, where he was like, oh, wait a minute, maybe what law enforcement said isn't really true.
Chris called into Crime Stories Obsessed, said nothing about this, and was so worried about what someone else was.
Exactly. Proudfoot is not worried at all about the supposed sighting of Sebastian, of the boy who I guess people thought looked like Sebastian. And he did a little bit, because he knows it's not him. And it's not a threat to him. Let people be busy with this one. Otherwise, they will look at us.
Saying about a potential sighting. How does he know the person who claims they saw Sebastian? That triggered Chris to call. How does he know, regardless of how frivolous it might sound, how does he know it's 100% not true? That's what it seems like. He's saying it's a bunch of crap. Well, how does he know? How does he know? And he can't be mad at people that might claim they saw Sebastian. How can...
At the time, Chris was still, I think, trying to discourage YouTubers from talking about this.
You be mad at that, whether they call it in right away or not.
Ask us, talk to law enforcement, but don't go public. Stop keeping the case in the public eye. Stop getting people to think about this case. That's really the message here. False tips are better than no tips. Really? Really?
And whether they call it into a show before law enforcement. How can you be mad at that?
And how would you word it? Possible leads are better than no leads. That's what you could say. But he said actually false tips. He knows the tips they're going to call in are going to be false because they're not looking in the right direction. And that's exactly what he wants. He wants to get the tip line, keep the tip line going. Overload, all in the wrong direction, all of it.
You should be grateful. You should be grateful. My opinion. So those are the latest two developments today. Tomorrow we'll be doing a deep dive into Katie Proudfoot's side of the family. We discovered some very shocking things on Katie's side of the family. And we'll be putting that together tomorrow morning. We come live on tomorrow morning. JLR Investigates. We'll do a segment tomorrow morning, and we'll do a deep dive into Katie Proudfoot's side of the family. We've done deep dives into Chris Proudfoot's side of the family, the Bauer Sox. But we didn't really do deep dive into Katie. We did a little bit this morning, but we got some more stuff coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. We cover Sebastian Rogers on this case. Hopefully, we wake up in the morning and authorities find Sebastian. That would be great. That would be great. Also, folks, this changes my perspective on the case. This gives me hope. Because I'll be honest, I didn't really have hope. I thought, hey, authorities searching landfills, authorities doing ground searches around his home. Weeks later, looking for a barefoot child, I thought they were doing more like looking for a body. But this keeps me optimistic. And I hope that is Sebastian. I hope that is Sebastian. And he's still out there. But we got to be very careful here, like we said before, folks, because whoever has Sebastian, if this is Sebastian, they might do something irrational knowing that the heat is on them. So let's hope authorities get the surveillance tapes, get the license plate readers, corroborate witness statements, narrow it down, find out who entered that park. Maybe all the vehicles that are surrounding this boy here, look into him, track it down. No stone left unturned. And hopefully they can find this young man.
Okay, JLR Investigates. Thank you very much for that. It was a year ago, May 3rd, 2024. And it's just another example. Thank you, Julia Turner, for sending this my way. And please, if you have anything, especially some of the earlier statements from Chris Proudfoot or Katie Proudfoot, send them my way.